climate change, and it's called Climate Change and the Road to Net Zero. It's just been published. It's available online and in all good retailers. And here's a quick copy of it. And the book really tells the story of how humanity is broken free from the shackles of poverty, suffering, and war, and for the first time in human history has managed to grow both population and prosperity over the last 200 years. But it also tells the tale of how a single species, us humans, have reconfigured the natural world, repurposed the Earth's resources, and we're now re-engineering the climate. And so I use these kind of conflicting narratives to explore the science, the technology, the economics, and the politics of global warming and the transition to a zero carbon economy. And thank you for the introduction. And yeah, so as you said, my background is originally in sciences. I gained my doctorate in materials chemistry from UCL, and I was working on novel coatings there for use in energy saving glazing. So this is basically windows which were designed to mimic the greenhouse effect to keep buildings warm. And I also worked on, as you said, nanomaterials, and I registered a patent there for a special coating which was designed to improve the efficiency of solar panels. And then after I finished my doctorate, I moved from science into finance, and I've spent the best part of a decade working at a global investment bank, Credit Suisse. And I carried on my passion for new energy technologies at the bank, where my work really revolved around forecasting technology trends and the financial performance and intrinsic value of companies involved in markets like renewable energy, electric cars, battery technologies, biofuels, where ultimately my role was to publish and pitch share price recommendations to some of the world's largest institutional investors, hedge funds, private wealth managers. And that means I've worked with some of the top executives of multi-billion-dollar companies. I've built relationships with some of the world's largest investment managers. Then in 2019, well, I decided that I wanted to go it alone, and I wanted to take what I'd learned in terms of science, technology, business, finance, and I wanted to take that, but commit to writing on climate change and new energy technology full time. And so here we are after 2 years. My new book, Climate Change and the Road to Net Zero, is the result of all of that work. So I just wanted to walk you through a sort of overview of the book. So it first walks the reader through a history of energy, innovation, and the rise of human civilization. And it shows how this virtuous circle of unlocking energy surpluses creates more time for human innovation, which in turn allows for better storage and transmission of all that knowledge, which helps to unlock more energy, more innovation, and more knowledge. And so all the way back from the first cave drawings 50,000 years ago, the agricultural revolution 10,000 years ago, Johannes Gutenberg's printing press in 1450, really human development and this virtuous circle have been driving progress. But it's only in the last 200 years or so that progress has been fast enough to actually sustainably improve the quality of life for your average human. And that is largely thanks to the harnessing of fossil fuels and the Industrial Revolution. But ironically now, carbon dioxide, which was this innocuous byproduct of combustion, it's actually now driving climate change and is threatening all of that hard-earned prosperity. So we kind of set the scene in the book as to how we got here. The book then takes the reader on a journey of how scientists have come to understand our past climate and how they can forecast future change. And how scientists can now show that the relationship between carbon dioxide and temperature has held true for 500 million years. And if we make no further change to our current energy and agricultural systems, then by the end of this century, average temperatures are going to be more than 3 degrees C warmer, and oceans will be nearly 1 meter higher. So the book takes this science and these forecasts, and it looks at the problems that economists tangle with or encounter as they attempt to piece together the potential monetary and social damages from rising temperatures, rising seas, and increasing extreme weather. to show that if climate change follows this sort of manageable or predictable pathway, then maybe we can adapt and we can soften the blow and the damages. But the book also shows that scientists know about dangerous tipping points in the Earth system, which can create unmanageable change. And this is what really compels us to act, and to act quickly. And then finally, the book provides a what I would call a technology agnostic assessment of potential climate change solutions. So all the way from adaptation measures like cooling shelters, building sea walls, or developing drought resistant crops, to climate engineering plans, which are things like putting mirrors into space to reflect the sun's energy, or developing ginormous fans to suck carbon dioxide back out of the air. And then, of course, we look at how to stop emitting greenhouse gases in the first place, because usually prevention is better than cure. So we look at how we can decarbonize the economy and reach net zero. And I assess each of those strategies, including the costs, the risks, and the limitations. And the key conclusion of the book is to show that on my calculations, on my modeling, eliminating emissions and reaching net zero is the only low risk strategy, and that a net zero carbon system will actually end up cheaper than the fossil fuel equivalent. So it shows that, it also shows that because these low carbon technologies, things like wind or solar or batteries, they get cheaper with scale of production, not just the passing of time. So that means that a rapid transition to a fully fledged net zero system provides the best economic outcome, whilst also avoiding the worst impacts of climate change, preventing the ongoing 8 million premature deaths each year, which are caused by air pollution, and it also protects the natural world. So, the key message of this book is that a rapid transition to net zero carbon is a win-win for both the economy, but also the environment.
Mr. Waugh, this is amazing. The book, and I like that. This is a novel. You've written it as a fictional novel, but I'm impressed, and it sounds like movie to me. Man,
Well,
absolutely.
If anyone wants to buy the rights, go straight ahead.
I mean, really, I don't know if you'd like to sell them that way, but people do need, sometimes the only way to communicate the facts and the truth of a matter is in a movie. And but truthfully, this needs to be shouted from every hilltop, every mountain, every valley, so that we do come to understand the significance and importance of what needs to happen now. So I commend you on your work. I commend you on the messaging that you've conveyed, and also keep continuing to work. So now, in terms of our required action, I mean, we all need to play a better role